Hello everyone, and welcome back to our Enigmatica 6 single-player Let's Play world. Today, as you can see, I have built out a new Sky Island. So as you can probably predict based on what I said in a couple of episodes prior, this means that we are getting into more magic. So I have taken out the Slime Island from Tinker's over here. That guy is completely gone, and I've built another island similar to the one we had over here. Basically kind of sort of the same. I'm adding a little bit of noise to these, and of course we will decorate them quite differently as we go. But yeah, so this guy has been set up, and there are already a couple of things on it. So of course we have our travel anchor for us to swoop and swap between our locations. We also have yet another one of our remote network receivers. And we have another mega torch down here just to help make sure that we are good and safe and not going to be infested on this little island. And I have this device right here. So the way that it works is if I grab shears and any petal, let's say I need more yellow petals, I can put that stack of yellow petals in here and just shear away. And what's going to happen is this chest full of bone meal is going to be used to essentially insta-bone meal these guys. And as you can see, it's a very effective way for us to increase our throughput here on our petals from Botania. So this, I think, is how we are going to sort of increase our petal production if we ever need it. Although, if you couldn't tell, we actually already have quite a few things. So I'd love to get started with this episode and start doing some questing for Botania, because there's so much in here. It goes deep into the mystical or mythical botany mod, as well as kind of just plain old mana steel and everything else vanilla in Botania. So let's get started. It's going to give us the Mortar and Pestle, and we can get started with any 16 flowers, which I have collected. 16 lime and a couple of others. That way we would get that quest. And this gets us some scavengers rewards, another set of shears, and then a flower pouch, which can be used to hold these various flowers pretty easily. So if I grab these, you can see all of them have their corresponding spot, and this makes it easy to go through and grab a bunch of flowers while you're out exploring. So, going from that quest line, there is Floral Fertilizer. That's actually a good guy to have, so we will probably go ahead and get that. We will need one singular piece of bone meal. And that will get us Floral Fertilizer, and that is how I got some of those flowers that I was missing in between episodes, because most of early Botania I've already done in previous series, and not a lot has changed. But we're still going to be here for it. We're still going to do it. So let's go ahead and grab our Petal Apothecary, and I'm going to grab about 16 of these and some seeds. And what we can do is we will take our infinite water bucket here, and then we can essentially just leave that like so. And that will get us 4 pure daisies. Now, I got 4 because I want to have 2 for each type of purifying recipe. There are actually quite a few others that I tend to forget about, but the major ones, right, the important ones are turning smooth stone into living rock and turning logs into living wood. There are ways to do, like I said, dense snow, blue ice, cobblestone from netherrack. It looks like that's actually kind of a cool one. Turning these blaze mesh into obsidian, ice into packed ice, soul sand into normal sand, and water into snow. So keep this in mind, because there are a lot of options out there once you get into Botania for converting and kind of messing around, right? Looks like that got us some mana steel. That's kind of cool, sort of breaking the order here. But I'd love to get a modular router automation set up for this as well, as you can probably guess. So let's go ahead and get into modular routers. We'll grab 32 of these. That sounds about right. And we can set up this little device over here. And essentially what I'm going to do is I'm going to use modular routers to automate our production of... Sorry, I just want to make sure we have everything cleared off here as well as possible. But I would love to automate our production of living rock and living wood, because these are two very nice looking building materials, great for building with Botania, or building Botania stuff rather. And they're also just commonly used in the mod itself, right? So it makes the most sense to sort of stock up on what we can. So that is why I'm going to go ahead and build some automation out here, because I think that's just what makes the most sense. So I will put these back like so. We're going to put down pure daisies here. Don't worry, I'll put the bone meal back so it won't look like I just kind of tore this place apart. Fill those in a little bit. And we're going to need, what, 32... Let's grab some materials here. So we're going to need a lot of pickaxes. Do we have sticks in bulk? We kind of do. Perfect. And now at Modular, we're going to need loads of these. We'll grab that and pickaxe, because we want to, basically we want 32 breaking modules. We want plenty of breaking abilities. And we want some placing modules as well. Placement modules, placing modules. How are we doing on dispensers? Oh, I made quite a few. Good. And then we're going to want another distributor. Remember this, we had a lot of fun with this. We'll do this. There we go. Now we can make a couple of these. And we will need a chest. So what we can do is put the chest right here in the middle. Tell all of these guys, we'll split this up actually. So we'll do stone, and we'll do acacia log, because we have a lot of acacia log. So I want you to place up acacia and break up not acacia. So these will be our acacia. These will be our acacia routers. So let me get this configured really quickly, because this is going to take a minute. I have to, go through and put these in individually, and that's just going to be kind of a pain. So let me just get that taken care of real quick. Okay, so now we'll do the same for stone. We want you to break anything but stone, and we want you to place only stone. It occurs to me we're going to need some more of these speed upgrades, because we're going to need a handful of things sent around using the one router that will be beneath this chest, right? So we want to make sure that we've got that covered. And modular stack upgrade would probably be good as well. These aren't that terribly expensive. I think they stack up to, what, 9? So we will have you underneath. We will have a distributor module distributing stone, and another distributor module distributing wood. I'm going to be OCD here and put this in the center. Round robin, transfer out of router. And so if this is stone. Oh, apparently they have a limit of 8. Okay, well, hey, that's kind of perfect. So why don't I... Okay, looks like the limit is 6. Let me get a couple more of these distributor modules, because I know I think we only have one more distributor module. Yeah, so let's grab another one, and then I'll get the rest of these configured. Okay, so that is the remainder of the distributors. These are all, you can see they're all pointing to these routers. And so we've got stone and acacia. And now we are going to pull, we don't need the filter, we do need to pull these two from the inventory above. So if I put these there, we're going to have our blocks placed. Uh-oh, we have a couple of these. That's weird. You shouldn't break stone. Does it need to be cobblestone? I'm not sure. Let me experiment with this a little bit. So of note, yes, these do have to be, I have a very messy inventory right now. These do have to be configured to not break cobblestone. I think what it's doing is checking for the pick block or maybe the dropped item based on whatever tool would be breaking it maybe when it does that blacklist check rather than the actual physical block itself. So that does cause some complications. I also need something entirely different. So as you can probably imagine, I have to do this a couple of times, I think. There is an issue that we're going to have because we have to get the stuff out of the routers that are breaking things. Okay, that is everything. Good. So let's see. We have you, and you. Perfect. So now I think we can transfer into the router itself, I think. So that's why I have made enough room here for another router. So we'll need one more of these guys, and we're going to need a pusher. Pull. Not push, pull. We want... No, we do want to send, because we want to send back into here. So we will retrieve. Yep, so that works. It looks like it will... oh, we need to configure these to only pull. Yeah, the right thing. So these are going to only pull their respective resource. So that would be living rock or living wood. Perfect. So we want you to only pull that, right? So if I put this in here, it's not going to place it, it's not going to break it, and it will eventually pull it, right? Yep, eventually. It does take some time, so we're going to want more speed upgrades and some stack upgrades. So let's go ahead and get that, because we don't want this to be too slow. So we can do a couple more of these. And we'll want stack upgrades. That's not going to be like, it doesn't have to be min-maxed, right? So that will be as fast as possible. This will send these results into this chest. In theory. Are you blacklist? No, you shouldn't be. So now, whatever results we end up with in the end we should have all of these things place. Let me guess. Cobble? Were you configured with cobble? Somehow you were not. Okay. Whoops. And so now, once this is done... Oh, you know, I hadn't accounted for that. Yeah, the buffers are full of resource. Okay, well, I mean... That's fine. That's fine. So that gets us a quest. Rare Botania loot box for mana diamonds. That's pretty cool. Let's clean up our inventory here a little bit. I'll play with this some, because there's definitely a lot of optimization we can do here. And the placement's not perfect on these, so I may minimize this a little bit and reuse some of our resources. I'll probably tinker with this off camera. Anyways, for now, you know, this will... I think we're already almost through all of our resources anyway, because I didn't give it all that much, and I only needed some, because I only need about half a stack or so to get us started into Botania. of living rock and living wood. So yeah. We have. Oh, we have this quest reward. I'll grab these. But yeah, these buffers should be full. And I guess that, yeah, that makes perfect sense. And I can probably add this. This guy doesn't actually really help here. So if I did whitelist these two, that would probably do it. And I'll take off my familiar ring for now. So yeah, I mean, I think theoretically if I toss these down, they get sucked up and they go in. So yeah, that's good enough for now. I'll probably give it a couple other stacks, maybe 4 of each, and then we can round robin those. Yeah, I think that's actually perfectly fast enough. That's cool. Anyways, okay, let's look into the quest line some more. I think the next thing it wants us to do is what an infusing altar and probably a wand. So let's do a wand of the forest. And because we can have our choice of petal, I am personally a big fan of green, and I've become a really big fan of this color combo lately, so we're going to stick with this. Now, I don't know for sure if this still works, but at one point, these two were made for each other. Yep, it looks like that is still the case. So if ever I wanted to get into Botania and just wanted to, like, you know, quickly swap out my rods or whatever, or swap into the rod wand of the forest, all I have to do is hold my morphing tool, and it can go right back where it basically is. So, yeah, that looks like it's working so good. That's cool. So, that being said, that's sort of stage 1, right? So that'll get us some more stuff. Actually, the mana weave cloth is pretty useful. Can't remember if it's used for much else. The spellbinding cloth is pretty cool. It removes enchantments last time I checked. So we will filter back into Botania, and we want a mana pool and a mana spreader because we want to create mana and we want to store mana. So we will do a mana pool and a mana spreader. And we'll grab both of these rewards. Pasture seeds are actually very nice. And living wood twig. And, oh, some living rock. Nice. So now we want to produce mana. So essentially we've gotten all the things that we need to sort of get this far, but now we want to produce it. So let's make some Endo Flames. And I'm going to make an Endo Flame with a pretty commonly seen... That is so nice. With a pretty commonly seen setup as well. So what we can do is, for an Endo Flame, we're going to need the following. And I love that I can just tell JEI that this is what I want, because this helps me remember exactly what I need. So I'll only need 16 and 16, and I'll need some seeds, which means I need to start collecting seeds because we're going to go through these sooner or later. And if I were to come over here, if I just right-click every single time, it will make the last recipe. And since I've left the seeds just sitting on top here, the seeds will activate the recipe, allowing me to get the finalized item. So that gets Endo Flames. You don't need 16. The quest really just cares about 1, but I like having 16. Now, I'm going to use the Manacea's Monocle. It says Charm Goggles, so I guess it does... Unless there happens to be just oh, there is a charm slot. Okay. Yeah, that works. We'll do a charm, and we're going to set up an early game, very straightforward setup for creating a decent amount of mana. So we will go into a mana pool, like so. For this, we will want our mana spreader to point directly into the mana pool by shift right clicking our source and right clicking it. I think actually shift right clicking it on the destination. And we're going to want those 16. Let's clean this up. We're going to want these 16 guys right here. Just like so. So I believe, actually we may run into some issues. So we may just use 15 for now, just for the sake of symmetry. I believe, I could be wrong here, that these should all be bound. And you can tell that because when I hold my wand of the forest and hover over one of these flowers, this guy right here, the mana spreader, has a highlight, a little rainbow highlight around it. And you can see on the tooltip in the center of the screen, it says Endo Flame, and then you can see the spreader has there's a little spreader icon with a check mark next to it, indicating that it does in fact have a spreader. So that's good. Now, there is a simple setup that I love to use. It's a very popular one. I'm going to use modular routers for this, believe it or not. Oh, man. And we're going to use the dropper module. And we will use a pressure plate. Doesn't really matter, I don't think. But what I need is a dropper that can drop up. So what we're going to do, we have an empty blacklist and we'll just drop up. So that is just going to toss that. Let me see if I can show you. That's just going to toss that up, right? So that's perfect. Now we can tell you Redstone Mode. Oh man, I cannot remember. Low? So in other words, when there's no redstone, it will work. But as soon as redstone is applied, it will stop working. In other words, you can see here, it dispensed exactly one seed. And as soon as this seed is picked up, it will dispense one more. Now, this is a good way to prevent waste. There are ways to further prevent waste if you're really picky about it, but frankly, I'm not too concerned about losing a little bit of coal here and there because we have 72,000 coal. So what I'm going to do is just grab an entire stack of coal blocks here, and I'm going to put them inside of this router. And these coal blocks are going to be consumed by the Endo Flames. You can see this guy here just consumed it, and it's going to start producing some mana from this, which is what that little burst that you just saw was. That means that this right here, mana pool, is going to start accruing this mana. So this entire process is just going to be on repeat until we run out of charcoal in our little hopper, or technically our dropping system here. So yeah, and basically the biggest reason why I went with modular routers was not only just to drop upwards pretty predictably, because you can drop upwards with a dropper if I remember correctly, but also to invert the redstone signal. In other words, I want it to drop no matter what unless it has a redstone signal, which is a hard behavior to replicate in such a compact space in vanilla. You can do bigger scale ones, of course, but in such a small space, a simple solution like this was made even simpler thanks to modular routers once again. So yeah, this is just going to constantly run, basically. So you can see now that these guys are full on mana, this mana spreader here is a little bit overwhelmed, I think. I'm not sure why it's not going. Oh, possibly because of the signal. So let me break this, because I think I've had this issue before. So let me rebind all of these. I believe the redstone signal prevents the mana spreaders from working, which I've always found to be kind of a weird behavior. And so I'm probably going to take off the monocle. It's kind of distracting. I believe... Oh, I missed one. There we go. So now you can see our mana pool will start to fill up some, and our mana spreader is in fact running as expected. So with this many of these Endo Flames, we can now begin to produce a lot of the different various outputs and inputs from Botania using mana. So if I grabbed some string, and what's another thing that it wants me to do? It basically wants me to do all of them. So if I do mana and ender pearl and a string and a redstone dust, you can see that as I hover over this, it'll show you here's what the recipe is going to output, and the check mark says, yep, we can do it. And I believe this is the last one. There we go. So that completes most of the things that we can do down here. Now, oh, mana glass. I forgot about mana glass. Mana glass is very cool. Very, very cool. Oh, we got some cosmetic things, an open crate, more pasture seeds, and then the Solagnolia, which I can't remember what it does. I would have to look at my Lexica Botanica. So let's break that out. This is it, basically, right? So we have all of Botania at our fingertips. And if I go to the Solagnolia right here, the ring of magnetization is handy, but it can pick up unwanted items. This Solagnolia is a field that disrupts the magnet from working, essentially. It does not use mana. That is very useful because I wanted to do just that. I wanted to make a ring of mana because A, that's a quest, and B, that's a very useful thing to have. So that's going to use our mana pearl and our living rock. We can use that to create our ring of mana, like so, band of mana. And I also wanted to do a magnet ring because while I do like our familiar ring with our what is it? Goblin? Not goblin. Thief. What was it? I can't remember. But our magnet ring, essentially, is kind of picky. Kind of a pain. It doesn't like to work after I change dimensions. So I tend to have to reseed it, like take it off and put it back on again. And that just has been getting kind of tiring. So I definitely think that I will more than likely be using this. I don't know why that recipe didn't. Weird. Anyways, we are still making quite a bit of mana over here, you can see. I will make some mana glass. The mana glass does emit light. It is also just overall a good-looking block, as you can see. It's a great glass alternative, and it's probably one that I'll build with a lot, because it is just such a good-looking block. So I will put these two rings down, and now if I throw something, there's a chance that it will be magneted to me. There we go. It's not supposed to be a chance, and it isn't a chance. It was just being kind of questionable. But I am going to make this a floating Solagnolia real quick. So if we do the pasture seeds here, we can make any variant of floating grass. So let me grab my flower pouch, and we'll just grab these guys for now. Ah, right. They do need to be glowing. This will make a floating white flower, and if I combine that with any other flower, it makes it a floating variant. So this will be a floating Solagnolia. So if I put this here, this will prevent my magnet from working and accidentally picking up these items, which I'm specifically not wanting to pick up. So if I come over here, you see I didn't pick up any of that. It all went straight into here. So that seems to be working exactly as expected. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. So the Solagnolia is a really great, great gift to get there. We got more mana weave cloth. That's really cool. And for the band of mana, we got mana diamonds. Okay. So honestly, so far, our start to Botania has been pretty good, pretty straightforward, but we're already getting quite a bit of mana here. You can see why we want that Solagnolia. So we'll probably put another one over here. Just because otherwise I'm going to be picking up coal blocks all day, and that's annoying. So if I put this down... Oh, it's being activated by redstone. If I put that here, see, now I'm no longer picking it up. Isn't that cool? This guy is so handy. Okay, so, let me take a look here. I think we can probably get into the Runic Altar today. The Runic Altar is not too terribly difficult. It's not the worst here. Mana Lens has its own quest for some reason. Interesting. And then... yeah, okay. It looks like it really does have us going in sort of the most logical order to fly through Botania as efficiently but also logically as possible. So let's go to Botania Altar. Grab one of these guys and grab another mana spreader because the altar requires mana. So what we can do is take our mana from here and we can point it to our mana spreader. Looks like I need to change my wand from function mode to bind mode. There we go. So now that's going to be bound to our altar. I'm actually going to move our altar significantly closer because the closer it is, the less mana loss there is overall and the less time it takes to complete any transfer of mana in the process. So, with that quest line, looks like we got a blue butterfly, cosmetic curio, lots of fun stuff in Botania. It wants us to get these elemental runes, and that is a good thing to do. So let's go ahead and do that at Botania Rune. We're going to want the basics, so they are kind of interesting. We're going to want a fishing rod, which means we're definitely going to want some sticks. And how this works is actually kind of cool. So if I grab some living rock, and I'm going to need some bone meal for this one, remember. And we will actually need a significant amount of the this stuff, the mana powder. But how this works is you toss your stuff down on it, and it's going to start the recipe crafting. So you can see there's a little green bar that's filling up. And when it's done, you need to toss a living rock and then right-click it with the wand, and that will make your rune out of the crafting that you were just doing. So we also need to do the following. We're going to need a rune of earth, fire, air, and mana. So let me get these done. Okay, and that completes the quest. And that got us a band of mana that is completely full. Okay, well that's super helpful because you can empty the band like so, and that's going to fill up our mana pool pretty greatly. I'm going to probably only fill it up a little. Actually, well, let me think. So one of these bands is half of a mana pool, so I think we should be good to just let it empty out completely because I don't need a second band. Although you can have a second band, you absolutely don't need it. So yeah, it's just kind of personal preference, I suppose. Yep, close enough. Cool. All right, so now that that is completed and ready to go, let's see what else we can kind of start to finish up, and maybe then we will be ready enough. Oh, actually, these rods are super good to have. They're super fun, so we would probably make them, and then I think we'll probably be ready to call it an episode because we have gotten just that much done already. It has been such a very, very productive episode thus far. Let's grab a glass bottle. I thought you could fill them from there, but I suppose not. No problem. So with our glass bottle here, we can create a Rod of the Seas. This is very cool because using the mana band that we haven't really actually been using, I'm going to grab that real quick. Using this, which has just a little bit of mana in it, whereas our other one has none, we can, in fact, if I were to like replace this, we can, in fact, refill it with water and place water anywhere we go, sort of like our infinite water bucket, which means it's a little bit less useful to us, but it is still very cool to have nonetheless. So moving into the Rod of the Lands, this one is one of my favorites just because of how insanely helpful it can be for building or terraforming, or just working in general. So this allows you to convert mana to dirt. That's right. So I just produced dirt from mana. The mana, like I said, coming from the ring here. So it's not like it's completely free. Something else is being taken up by it instead. In this case, it would be coal. But yeah, overall, I think that one's so useful for terraforming. There is the Rod of the Depths, which I believe is the same, but for stone, if I remember correctly. Yep, there we are. Also just super helpful to have. And then probably my favorite in this set is the Rod of the Skies. Did I need 2 for that last one? I guess I did, huh? Anyways, the Rod of the Skies is super fun, especially with Elytra. If I right-click on it, you can see I just go flying. And it can be reused at times. I cannot remember what the cooldown is, but it works basically like Rocket, which makes it so much fun because it's essentially a mana-based rocket that doesn't require anything except for mana, so you're not having to constantly go farm stuff for fireworks. You basically just have the mana-based version. So if I was headed over here, for example, and needed a boost, we have the boost. So yeah, this guy is so far one of my favorite things. I wonder how it looks if you use it while flying. Oh, it just looks like normal. Okay. It does have a cool little particle effect like fireworks do. But it looks like I'm out of mana now. So that is a bit of a problem. But you know what? I think so far we have already taken a very healthy little dive into Botania. So I'm going to claim all of our quest items real quick. Just to keep you from wondering what the heck we were missing out on. Looks like not a whole lot. But the Living Wood altar is something we will, or avatar, not altar, is something we will end up having to get into sooner than later. Especially because we're going to be diving kind of deep into Botania. So I'm going to put this guy over here just to watch everything. That's not exactly what he's used for, obviously, but that's what we're going to pretend for now. So I thank you so much for watching this episode. I hope you enjoyed, and if there's anything that you're looking forward to or want to see me try to implement or automate using some tech mods or just some convenience mods like modular routers here, let me know. I think, like I said, I'm probably going to rebuild this modular router setup a little bit just on account of the fact that it's not perfect and it could probably be cleaned up pretty substantially. So anyways, thanks a lot for joining this episode, and I'll see you in the next one.